Ladies and gentlemen, let us begin. If we understand and if we accept that the future is one of digital technology, unless we do much more, that future is not going to be female. STEM, STEM, STEM. Science, technology, engineering, and math. We need more girls, more women to be studying in these areas. Let me just give you one statistic. They did a study of girls who were in middle school, and 74% said, I want to study the sciences. I want to be part of STEM. But when the time came, 0.3%. 0.3% of that 74% were taking computer science. Ladies and gentlemen, what is the problem? You know, we used to have scientists telling us, it's because women's brains are different. Our brains are smaller and they're not that scientific. That's what you get if you get male scientists to study women's brains. Now we know the problem is not cognitive. The problem is overwhelmingly cultural. So what can we do to change it? This is what our panel is about today. How do we break down the barriers? How does one of the fastest growing industries, the technology industries, become a real engine for real change and help us to close the gender gap? Well, we're very fortunate to have 4 change makers with us. Jacqueline Fuller is the VP for Google and president of Google.org, spending a whopping $1 billion over 5 years to try to educate and empower women, technological innovators, so more people are working in technology. We also have Dita Přikrylová, who's from Czechoslovakia. I pronounced her name almost correctly. CEO and founder of Czechitas. She's actually funded by Google, and she's working to educate women and men, boys and girls, in information technology. Erin Kelly has just run over and joined us here. She's with the UN Spotlight Initiative, and again, another important endeavor to try to close the gender gap, empower women, and get them more savvy when it comes to the tools of technology. Last but not least, Diana Löwen, or should I say Ambassador Löwen. She is one of the 50 ambassadors for YouTube's Creators of Change. She's only 22 years old, and she's already a video veteran. She's been uploading videos for the past 5 years, and her YouTube videos, she's getting millions of people tuning in for fashion, makeup, but also for how to have impact, how to have social impact, how to be part of the change. So let's begin. Jacqueline. How big is the gender gap, and how big a problem to tackle it?
Well, let's start with some good news, because I think sometimes we can feel hopeless. But the truth is we actually have more women than ever before majoring in a lot of our STEM subjects. For example, physics majors up and to the right, math majors up and to the right. More women are now getting biology degrees in the US than men. But there's only one area where we've been actually moving backwards, and that's computer science. And it's such a shame, because those of us in the tech industry know that technology, the digital economy is surging ahead. These are going to be huge numbers of flexible, well-paying jobs. These are the people that are going to be creating the platforms of the future. So we need to get more women and girls.
But why is that when computer sciences start? Did you remember that back in the 70s and 80s? The gender balance was actually pretty good, because let's face it, women know how to type. So they were typing on computers. And now it's going backwards. What is happening, Jacqueline, in that industry?
One of the things that we've seen from some research that we've done is we've learned a couple things. One, some of the problem sets that when you're teaching computer science, and so when you're training girls in the classroom about what it means to be a computer scientist, The problem sets are things like how to make money on Wall Street, or how to win when you're playing poker, or how to defeat your friend when you're playing Stratego. But you know what tends to motivate more women and girls is understanding that computer science is really just a tool for problem solving, and it can help you to fulfill solving the problems that you care about. So for example, if you just change the problems that you give to students in the first computer science class so that you're addressing things like, okay, so how can we use computational thinking to lower infant mortality in Kenya? You will get twice as many women actually finishing that computer science class because you're showing them that computer science is just a tool to solve the problems that they care about.
So it's got to start in the classroom. It's got to start very young, but it's got to also start with all ages. Dita, you're doing some of that education from the age of 8 to 80. Tell us about your efforts to try to really get women educated in using computers and being part of these new tools of our time.
Well, I think it all starts with inspiration. You need to show girls the value, the social value, what they can achieve using the technology as a tool. But also then it starts with aspiration, who they want to become. It's all about mass media picture of IT specialists, but also role modeling. So what we do in our organization in Czechitas, we actually bring some new role models. So they actually can see the career path really clearly. But the most important what we do is we are actually teaching them to code and teaching them how to do a data analytics and testing and security and project management, and we really guide them through all the way to get them a job in one of those companies that are desperately looking for talents today. So we founded this project called Digital Academy. We focus on this untapped source of talent called moms on maternity leaves, especially in the entire region. And we actually provide them with 3-month requalification course. And at the end of after the graduation, they really can become a data analyst. So 80% of them are getting a new job. And then it's about adult women, but also we all know that decisions about future career paths, that starts very early. So that's why we actually work with kids from the age of 8 all the way to 18. And we make sure that technology is introduced to girls and boys in a fun way, in a very creative way. And we all want them to choose IT as the future career.
So we've got to convince people, boys and girls, but girls have to be brought into this even more, making them understand that this is really interesting. Now, Diana, you're listening to this. You're listening to Dita talk about computer skills, data analysis, data analyst. How do you convince your generation that that's pretty cool, that it's cool to code?
I think you have to start really early. A lot of girls are often afraid that they can't do this, that they are not good enough. And I think that is completely wrong. We really need to show them that they have to find one thing they're passionate about. And once you found this, everything is so easy because to me also education is not about learning what's maybe crucial or what used to be crucial some years ago. There's also this approach of the curiosity-driven education, and I think once you found this, it's so easy and so fun to learn. And therefore, I always tell them to find what they're really passionate about, and then learning is so easy and it's so much fun also working together in a group. And I also hosted an event in the beginning of May, and I plan on continue doing this, where I taught women how to become more brave also from the inside. I had a bravery consultant, I had female founders on stage, and we were talking also about our struggles and how we not let our struggles hinder ourselves, to really push forward to the things we love. Because I think that is also one thing we often are so insecure about, the way we look, about maybe the way we talk or whatever, that we stop continue and following our dreams, and that is completely wrong. So I really want to empower women to focus on their dreams and not let anything stop them.
It was very interesting because I was asking Deanna before about that word we hear a lot of, confidence, that young women, older women, everyone's talking about making women more confident. And this is where Deanna said, no, I'm not teaching confidence, I'm teaching bravery. Give us an example of some of the YouTube videos you do as part of your role as Ambassador Creators for Change. Like what would you put in that video to send that message home about bravery, curiosity, skills?
To me, like being brave starts from the inside, but also still has an impact from the way you feel from the outside. So I also want to teach women, how they can dress up for one of the job interview. What should you wear, and also how should you talk to the people you want to really win for yourself. So learning how to talk, how to stand up for your ideals, how to stand brave, how to stand tall. All of these are topics I want to address.
So how do you think we're doing? Do you think all of us are dressed well? Do we stand tall? Are we looking pretty brave?
Definitely.
We're doing pretty well. I think we followed your course. Erin, spotlight. A great phrase. We do have to shine a spotlight on this issue. We've been talking what's happening in the Czech Republic. We've been talking about what Deanna's doing. Your mandate is global, because we have to bear in mind that even access to this technology is very different. There's another gap that has to be closed if we're going to truly talk about closing the global gender gap.
Exactly. Thank you so much. So for those who don't know, though you're all standing right here, the Spotlight Initiative is an EU-UN joint initiative to eliminate violence against women and girls. Now, to do that, we need to be innovative, creative, and expand the network of innovation well beyond the global north. I don't think it's a coincidence that you have an all-white panel standing up here. But the reality is that technology is critical to go to the global south. The girls and women living in the global south have such an amazing space to own and lead the technological innovation that we need to ensure that they have true gender equality. Gender equality cannot be achieved unless we eliminate violence against women and girls, and the role of technology in doing that is huge. Not only in equalizing the playing field for men and women in these countries so that women have an equal chance at leading in the tech fields, which are equally emergent fields in the countries that Spotlight is working in, but also in shaping and really forming the discourse that can change social norms, can change the behaviors that lead to violence against women and girls. So this is what is so, I'm actually incredibly inspired by all three of the women I have the privilege of being up here with, because this is exactly what we want to bring into the Spotlight countries. We want to bring this digital university.
Yes. Yes.
Digital Academy. I want to bring that to the countries that we're working in. That's an incredible, incredible solution to many of the initiatives that we're trying to put in place. For those of you who've done work in developing countries, you'll know that oftentimes the empowerment of women and girls, there's a lot of investment in life skills training. And what that can look like is, let's teach them how to make soap. Let's teach them how to dye fabric. Not to undermine those fields, which are tremendous, but let's be a little bit more creative in the skills that we're teaching our girls. Let's really bring the technology and the space of the future to countries that have never had this access. And that's really what Spotlight's all about. It's finding that space for innovation, finding that space for change in a world that hasn't had this opportunity, the same opportunities that all four of us have had.
So in your work, do you also talk about STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics? Or you also, sometimes, sadly in some countries, the emphasis really is on education, just getting girls in school and giving them a quality education and keeping them in school. But as part of that, when you want to try to look at a quality education, is there efforts to try to nudge them toward the sciences, to make them part of the future where the jobs and the opportunities are going to be?
There isn't, but I want to see that. I think that's a tremendous idea. So exactly, when we're looking at these amazing programs that our countries are designing for the Spotlight funding, we should be looking for that. Not just let's make sure girls get education, which is outstanding and really critically important. But what is that education? What does it look like? What kind of education are they getting? What does the future for these girls look like if they actually get STEM education in the deepest, deepest villages of Uganda? What does that look like for these girls? And what will they be in 10 years, 20 years when they're in the workforce, actually as pioneers in the tech field?
So all you people listening, how many of you here have daughters, or young nieces, or young girls that you know? How many of you do? And how many of you have young daughters or young girls in your life who are interested in computer sciences and this? Where to go? Okay, anyone else? How many of you are realizing by attending the session today how important it is to get girls, and boys too, but also my friend Mohammed Sidibe from Sierra Leone is here, so he's feeling a little bit upset because I'm not... young men matter too, but young girls too have to be involved. It is the future. The jobs which have yet to be created are going to be in that. But I want to bring this back to basis, Jacqueline, because you're part of one of the fastest growing industries, an industry which has lots of ideas, has more money in some cases, but look at your own industry. What is the statistic about the gender balance in your industry that you're going to be leading this change?
Exactly. It's the problem we were talking about earlier, which is that since computer science, the proportion of computer science graduates who are female has actually dipped since the 80s. We've gone backwards. So it's fewer than 20% that were graduating in women. And so then you see technology companies such as Google and other engineering companies basically mirror that, what's in the marketplace. So
75% you were telling me?
Yeah, so our engineering teams will reflect that pipeline. So we really have to work on the pipeline. And that can start with basic digital skills. So for example, Google's got a program called Grow with Google. We've trained more than 2 million folks across Africa in basic digital skills. And these kinds of grassroots programs that we support, like Czechitas, for example, in Czech Republic, can make sure that we're reaching in and training and opening this up to everyone, including women and girls and other underrepresented minorities. But we do believe that as a tech industry, we have a special responsibility to make sure that we're recruiting and retaining diverse talent, and that at our companies, we're creating a real spirit of belonging and safety, where people can be brave, as you say, and really flourish in the digital economy.
So if Czechitas is the answer, Czechitas, it's always hard to say Chiquita, but Czechitas, I mean, do you feel you're an island in the Czech Republic, or do you believe it's spreading and more people are realizing the importance of this?
Well, I think we can, we are about to start a global movement, of course, but there is what a potential Czech Republic still has, because Czech Republic is actually, by the report by European Commission, it's the worst country in entire Europe when it comes to the rate of women in IT industry. It's 11.2% of women who are working in IT. 2%? Yeah, 11.2. And it's very little. So we want to make sure we are gonna go local first, because it's not only about Prague and Brno and Ostrava, one of the major cities in Czech Republic, but it's also about going to regions where the access to the quality education is not that common. So want to make sure it's all working in Czech Republic, and once it's done, we absolutely want to go global, because we actually develop a platform where is entire family, where our kids, playing with iPhones and other robotics, etc., all the way to elderly women who are actually trying to learn their digital skills so they understand their children. And among these, there are those women who are requalified and get their job in IT and double or triple their salaries. So first, local, it's local love. This is exactly why it was funded. And then I think there's a huge potential to go global, even, start with Europe and then go global.
Well, this was one of the mantras for decades in the development industry. Think global and act local. And if everyone acts local, then you can actually have a multiplying effect. When you're listening to all this, we're talking about problems and challenges and barriers along the way. What do you hear from people your age, boys and girls, about what the main problem is? Is it, as we heard from Jacqueline, the way the subject is being taught? Is it, as we're hearing from Dita, that there's not enough jobs? Or what is it that really, for you, has to really change to make true progress in this area?
I think it also definitely starts in school. I mean, I do live in Germany, and even though we are such a well-developed country, subjects like digitalization or coding are not a subject in school, and I think this is completely wrong because
they don't teach it in school yet.
No,
so it's got to be a special course.
Some schools, or if your parents are really into it, and I think that is not right. You need to start really early because also when I started YouTube, it was just learning by doing, and I learned it because I wanted to, use social media and use YouTube as a tool to get out of my little village to talk to other people, and we really need everyone to participate in this. Therefore, all of the countries really need to start early by teaching girls and boys how to use all of these tools, and also definitely maybe have a little different approach when it comes to girls, that they often are a little bit more insecure, that they maybe need other tools that really catches their interest. It's not really about what you said about winning, it's about making a change, and that you can use coding to make a change, to improve somebody's life, and also to make an impact yourself. So I think we need to start early and still continue doing to work on all of these topics.
But that's worrying. If even in Germany, which is the economic powerhouse of Europe, if they're not teaching it there, it's...
Yeah, well, I also met the digital minister 3 days ago. I sent her a message on Instagram, and she actually replied. That was quite cool, but
So tell us what your question was.
Well, I had several questions, but one main question was how she plans to, strive to digitalization in Germany forward. And one of the main things she said is that people in Germany are open-minded for the digitalization. And that is crazy, because to me it's so crucial that we need to push the digitalization forward. But when I look to people that are 40, 50, they're so afraid of the digitalization because they all have these jobs that in the bureaucracy are that have always had their job for 5 years. They're not used to this lifelong learning. Maybe I'm kind of used to, but these people are so afraid, and you need to convince, first of all, them to make a change. But this is not true. Waiting for all of these people to say yes, we need to do something now, and not wait for the older people to say it's okay, we need to make an impact now for our future.
So you think the 40s and 50s have to go to bravery classes as well?
Yeah,
everybody needs to go to a bravery class. Yes. When you're listening to this, Erin, because you're at the UN, you're trying to find new ways of tackling what is a new and growing and ever more urgent problem. And when you hear what Diana says, I mean, if Germany has problems, think about countries which don't have the resources and the insight into this issue.
Well, I just want to say, first of all, I love that you connected with the digital minister for Germany via Instagram. I think that's amazing. And that is just a lesson in bravery for all of us, to just not be afraid, to just reach out to the people who hold power and to challenge that power. And if I think about, and I'm asked this often, like, what do I want to see for Spotlight in 5 years? I think I want to see a generation of girls who have even a fraction of the bravery and the confidence that you have. Because I think that's it. I think that there's a perception that because of circumstances, because of where we live, because of the color of our skin, whatever it is, we can't do this. We can't grow to become brilliant young women like you are. And I think there's I hope there's such a great space within Spotlight to change that paradigm. I often use this idea of flipping the power paradigm, of really recognizing that we should be the students of the people on the ground, and that we have more to learn from them than we could ever teach. And all we need to do is create that space. And so through Spotlight, what I really hope is that we can create some of that space in these countries to grow this next generation of super brave, powerful girls, women, who can really lead us. And if that does and can and must include technology, all the better.
Is anyone listening here, have you confronted in your own lives with your children or young people you know, have you confronted the kind of problems we're discussing about that you feel you have a good question or maybe even a good solution to offer to us here today? There we go, Yvette. What is the problem that you've encountered?
Hello, I'm Yvette Hutchinson and I work for the British Council. One of the things that we have done is a programme around core skills, which includes digital learning. What we have discovered, though, is that while we want to promote that for our young people, there is very limited opportunity for teachers to be trained in this.
Teacher training,
and that,
it's a very good point.
Is a really crucial issue. So while we say we want it in schools, if we don't train those teachers who've been doing this for 20 years, how then are they going to do that?
That is really, really crucial. Jacqueline, you've been nodding your...
So if I heard it correctly, the question
training,
is really
yes.
how do we get the teachers to teach the coding?
Who trains the young people?
Yeah. So
Dita talked about that, about how the current generation doesn't know the skills, and young people are coming up in some ways just naturally skilled at these new technologies.
Yeah, so my husband is a public school teacher, so I'm very sympathetic to teachers who already have so many demands on their schedule. You don't want someone coming in and saying, and by the way, I want you to teach Java as well, and Ruby on Rails next semester. So there are partners that we can work with, whether it's Czechitas, who are doing wonderful work in the Czech Republic, or groups like Code.org, who have the materials available online. Anyone can download them. Moms at home with their kid can download this material and teach a coding class, just an hour of code, just giving someone a sample, just a taste of what it's like. There are programs like Scratch that are available online that we can all start to experiment with. We can all be brave and take our first coding class. So there are very low-lift ways that all of us, whether we're teachers, go to code.org, all of us who want to improve our digital skills, go to Grow with Google. There are ways that we can take advantage of online learning. And then there's some really in-person augmented learning. I was just at Molengeek today here in this city in Brussels, and Molengeek is doing tremendous work in neighborhoods, teaching coding and digital skills and entrepreneurship. So I think the combination between the online skills and resources available and then the deep dive groups like Czechitas is doing great work.
Very, very good. How many people actually know how to code? Put up your hands. Hey, look, you're very proud. Look at you. You're brave. Wow. How many people know how to code? Well, look at that. That's fantastic. How many people want to learn how to code? Who dare to say? Brave, brave, brave. You've also been confronting the problems. As part of your training, do you train people for teaching as well when you're training people in your academy for new jobs?
Yeah, we also have other project that is called Academy of Programming. And we actually train teachers. We have about 150 active teachers from all around the Czech Republic, from public schools. And we want to exactly do what you are stressing out. Provide them with material they can use and use in their classes. So we want to actually create a online website where they actually can find a community, teachers community, and really, find the resources to teach their kids. Not only teachers, but also parents, what actually appears to be the other factor influencing young women, girls' decisions about their future careers. So both parents and teachers need to be trained on the importance of computing of today.
Because it has to begin not just in school, but also in the home.
This is exactly what it's...
Yes, please, yeah.
So what do you need to do more of what you're doing?
More Czechitas, that's the answer.
What do you need?
Funding, I think.
Is it really a question of funding or of will? Or
okay, she needs more funding, so Google.org is going to give her $250,000 more.
Oh.
Thank you.
There you go, instant success. So what are you going to... Yes. Yes. What are you going to do with this new big gift of 250,000?
Thank you for a hug.
Yes.
And thank you for your support and tremendous trust. It's like, I just want to say, we are a non-profit organization, but we want to make sure that our model is sustainable. So that's why we are actually finding for other partners, like companies, who are on the other side, like who are looking for untapped source of talents, and are really willing to pay for people who are actually going to be employed. So it's also financed the other way, but to reach global markets, to reach teachers and work with parents, it all starts with funding, because it's global project, it's a global issue, and thank you for your trust and support. We will do more.
Erin, what do you think from your point of view is the problem? What is the big obstacle? Is it funding? Is it will? Is it awareness? Is it politics? Is it technology? What is holding back?
I could use 250. No,
you need 250 million.
I'm half kidding. So it's really interesting because the EU has given 500 million euros to eliminate violence against women and girls. That seems like, I've been working in this field for 22 years. To me, that seems like a crazy amount of money. And yet, it's a drop in the bucket.
500 million.
It's a drop in the bucket, honestly. And so I was half joking. But it's not just funding. I was just in a meeting with the Deputy Secretary General, Amina Mohammed, and she was talking about the need for this. She was using billions, this billions of dollar investment, because the problem is so ingrained that we need a shift in institutions. We need a shift in, it's not just changing individuals' mindsets about how they perceive the capacities and the agency of women and girls. It's about changing the way that we operate globally as a whole system. And that's obviously going to take a little bit more than 5 years, which is the lifespan of Spotlight. I think
it's temporary. Or
the first phase of Spotlight is 5 years.
Yes.
It is meant to be a model fund, so it's meant to attract new donors, new partnerships. When I say we need more money, it really wasn't a joke. We are looking for other partners to come on board for Spotlight to contribute to maybe diversify the countries, expand the orientation. We're not programming in the Middle East yet. We really would love to be in the Middle East. Just for an example, we'd love to be in Europe too, frankly.
So why aren't you in the Middle East? Is it a question of funds?
Yeah, it's a question of funds.
Resources?
Question of resources for the moment. But always opportunities, and we're really looking for more donors to come in. We can give you this great platform of Spotlight. I just want to say I love the idea of bringing technology into Spotlight. It's not something I've been thinking about much, so I really want to continue this conversation, and I want to invite others to share your thoughts about how Spotlight can do this better. It's kind of buried there, but we have a Twitter hashtag #Spotlight_VAWG, and I'll get it. If you tweet your ideas, I'll get them, and I'll be sure to integrate them into our programming.
Well, let me just get Miss Big Smile, who learned how to code. Tell me why you decided to code and how it's changed your life. And your name is Stella.
Thank you. Well, I decided to code quite early. I remember around, so I live in Brussels, but I live for a couple of years in Cameroon, and actually it's where I started. And my father loves IT, basically. And I learned that I could do things quite quickly by coding. So that's how I got into it, and it's what I do today. Yes, so I'm very proud about that.
But Stella, your point also had very, very important. Your father. Often, as we know, for the education of girls, mothers play a big role too, but fathers also can play a huge role in inspiring their girls, in treating the girls the same as boys, and for making, as I'm sure your father made clear, he didn't say to you, Stella, IT is for the boys and something else is for the girls. You see? Look at the smile. I think you got this big smile from your father too. Do you want to say something?
Well, just really quickly, we did some research at Google to find out what's the differentiator? What makes a girl choose to go into computer science? And what we found is the number one thing is being encouraged by someone, whether that's a teacher or a sister or an aunt or a neighbor or a coach or a friend. But being encouraged, saying to someone, hey, you're really smart, you like problem solving, have you thought about going into IT? Or, I think that you're really good at math, have you thought about computer science? So encouragement is key. And so that's why I think also having role models who are brave and unafraid and willing to take on, but we also need to encourage our young girls. So I think all of us know a cousin, a neighbor, like we can all think of someone right now, right, who we can go home and encourage to consider a career in technology.
Well, before we end, I just want to get one big message from all four of you, because you're obviously all committed about this, and Erin is getting more committed by the minute here on stage, which is great. There's a great energy amongst all of you. A message for all of you, because it begins at home, it begins with all of us. The kind of message you want to leave, but how can we begin to make a difference in this area? We're going to start with you, Ambassador Löwen.
Okay, well, I think what's really, really crucial is that you should think about yourself. What do you want? Don't let your parents tell you what to do. Because that's what a lot of my viewers tell me, that they are often influenced by their parents who say, do something that's safe and sound, but do what it makes your heart race, do what is your passion, and then the rest will follow.
Because, in fact, you told me earlier that, in fact, some girls were being told by their parents, no, coding, there's no jobs in coding. Yeah. Honey, why are you doing coding?
There are a lot of jobs in coding. There are a lot of jobs in coding. We are hiring. My message would be, think of the young girl in your life, the girl down the street, your cousin, your niece, whomever. Who can you encourage that they're smart and capable and they can consider this as a career?
Well, I would tell every girl, you can do it. You can do IT. You can do it. And that's it. It starts with encouragement. Mostly girls don't even know they can do it, right? They can do IT. Most of them, they don't think they belong to IT or what kind of job they want to do or can actually save a world also using technology. So tell them they can do it also.
And when you tell them that message, you say that message in English or in Czech?
I say
in Czech.
I say it in English.
Is English the language of?
We say in Czech, we say holky do IT do holek, and it means more IT, more women in IT, more IT in girls.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, because we need to learn IT.
So I think I took a lot of messages away from here. I'm not sure I have any words of inspiration except just to, I want to globalize this digital academy. I think it's such a cool model, and I feel really inspired by all of you guys, and really energized to see how Spotlight can orient its work more in this area and what the opportunities are. So I just want to say thanks to all of you, and thanks to this amazing, amazing audience.
And thank you very much. Does anyone else in the audience want to give us with one nugget of wisdom before we go, that you've had an experience in coding or a message you have for our giants in the technology? And what about you, Mohammed Sidibe from Sierra Leone? You're becoming shy. Okay, here. You'll get the last word.
Thank you. Thank you for inspiring ideas and being so inspiring for all of us. I was just thinking if you should, when we look into the future, if we should consider moving from STEM to STEAM that includes also arts education.
STEAM. We like that. Steaming ahead. STEM sounds a little bit static, but STEAM, what do you think? Does it confuse things, Jacqueline?
No, she's absolutely right, because we were talking about this beforehand, that many young girls and women are very interested in the arts and fashion, and we need to not set it up as if those are two different things. My daughter is a computer programmer, and her favorite love is fashion. So we can mix arts and creativity and design with technology.
We've had some great ideas here today. So all of you get out there, get onto your computer or your telephone, send a message to your minister, to your teacher, to your community leader, send them a message on Instagram, tell them a message about getting involved in STEAM. Also, everyone needs a Czechitas. Everyone should start to be learning about code or getting other people interested in technology. Go onto YouTube. They've got these amazing videos, Creators for Change. They've been viewed by 60 million plus people and counting. They have lots of ideas. Put the spotlight, help Erin keep that program alive. And like Deanna, be an ambassador for change. Thank you to all of you. Thank you to you.